So in this video, I'm going to show you how to apply properties of limits to a numerical stem. So um, these right here, again, just as a review, are our properties of limits. And remember, anything that we can do to a function, so if we can multiply the function by a number, we just do that to its limit. So we multiply the limit by that number. We can add the two functions together if we can add the two limits. If we multiply two functions, we can multiply their limits. If we divide them, we can divide. And if we raise them to an exponent, we can raise the limit to an exponent. That also means that if we take the square root, because remember the square root is a fancy exponent, we can take the square root of the limit as well. All right. Then, so in this problem we have, if the limit as x approaches 3 of f of x equals 2, and the limit as x approaches 3 of g of x equals -4, find each of the following limits. And then we basically are applying our properties. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to, basically we need to find the limit as x is approaching 3, and the top says f of x. So I know that my limit as x is approaching 3 of f of x is 2, so I'm going to substitute in a 2. And of g of x, it's -4. And then I'm just going to evaluate that. So 5 times 2 is 10 over -4. And if I was going to reduce my fraction, I'd say that's 5 over -2, or -5/2. This one says we're going to go as we approach 3. Notice they're all as we approach 3, because that's the only information that I was given. So we are approaching 3 of f of x, which is 2. And then I've got 2. And then when I approach 3 for g of x, I get -4. So we'd have 2 plus -8, which is -6. On this one, it says we're going to take the square root, and we're going to take 4 and multiply by whatever the limit of the function is. So the limit as f of x approaches 3 is 2. And then we've got this, so we've got the square root of 8. And then in calculus, we would just leave it, but if you really wanted to simplify it, you could say 4 square root of 2, or 2 square root of 2. On this here, we're saying the limit as x approaches 3 of g of x, again, is -4 over 8, which is just going to reduce to -1/2. Then we've got to do 3 times the limit as x approaches 3 of f of x, and of f of x, it's 2. And then minus the g of x, which is -4. Double negative is going to go positive, so we've got 6 plus 4, which is 10. And then finally, we've got f of x times g of x. So the limit as x approaches 3 of f of x is 2. The limit as f of x approaches g of x is -4. We're going to divide that by 12. We could multiply those together, or I could just do this. I know -4 goes into 12. -3, that's not what I wanted to put. I wanted to put that. -3 times, and now our fraction is nice and reduced, so -2/3.